meeting to order. Nicole, will you do roll call, please?
Mr. Blair?
Here.
Mr. Chancho? Mrs. Grosh?
Here.
Mrs. Gutierrez?
Here.
Mr. Hald?
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additional agenda items? All right, we are at public comment. Nicole, is there any public comment?
No, sir.
No public comment. Introductions and presentations.
None there as well.
All right, looking for a motion to approve the treasurer's report for March and April.
I move that the Board of Directors, let me turn the microphone on. I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the March and April 2025 Treasurer's Reports as presented.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, but I forgot to mention this. This meeting is being live streamed, and please remember to turn on your microphones when you speak. And I don't have to give the public comment announcement since there isn't any public comment. So questions or comments about the treasurer's report?
I submitted my questions prior to the board meeting and they were cleared up.
Likewise.
So Nicole, do we have somebody watching for Don and see if he's raising his hand or anything about our comments? Skylar, you have it. Would you just give me the high sign if he's wanting to speak? Yes. Any other thoughts or comments or questions about the treasurer's report?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the study session of April 3rd and the board meeting of April 8th.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the minutes of the study session of April 3rd, 2025, and the board meeting of April 8th, 2025, as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, questions, thoughts on the minutes? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes of the study session of April 3rd, 2025 and board meeting agenda of April 8th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there any communication and correspondence to the board?
There is not.
Thank you. Yvonne, we are at the executive director report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you all received a report from me for May of 2025, which I'd be happy to answer any questions for. I did want to point out a couple of highlights, starting with the first item, which was a big day for us is when Waterworld opens for the season, which we did on Saturday, May 24th. Unlike last year, where we had no days that we were closed, so far we've only had 2 days that we've been open. So the weather is not cooperating with us on the kickoff end. The good news is the grass looks great. The bad news is it's not a great start for the season, but we expect tomorrow to be a full swing day. It'll be a great chance to get all of the employees out there really understanding the operations of the park, and hopefully will be the official kickoff for the summer. The other thing I wanted to point out is on item number 4, talking about the blue course improvements at the golf course. We did open the number 1 green on the blue course over the weekend. I believe it was very well received by the guests, and we're excited to have those improvements wrapping up and looking at the next phase of improvements out there. But beyond that, I'm happy to answer any other questions that you all may have.
Yvonne, I did have one question. It was with regard to the additional requirements from the city of Westminster for Carol Butts Park. Is there anything material? It caught my eye that it was they wanted to work some more so as not to delay the project.
Yeah, it had to do with, Steve, and you're going to have to maybe help me out here. It had to do, I think, water retention areas.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably need to go down and talk about the microphone.
Yes, Steve Hager, project manager. The city had questions about some of the stormwater quality measures we were doing and the way the stormwater was working. That was kind of their main things. Some of the grading, a few other comments and issues. It took a while to work through it with them. They have an independent reviewer that looks at it. Then we got with their staff. Their staff worked with us. That has all been resolved. The plans have been approved and work has begun on the project.
Thanks.
Any other questions on the executive director report? Yvonne, I would agree that we might have closed Waterworld, but the golf course is in phenomenal shape. It is green, the grass is thick and long, and it really sucks up my balls when I hit it into the rough. But the new green looks great, Alan. The course looks absolutely great. KPI report.
Again, happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
The one question that I had is that the free events that we're putting on increased from 6 events to 23 events. And I just wanted to know, has the attendance of the free events been meeting the expectations that we thought that they would meet?
Skylar, I'm going to pass that over to you.
Yeah, I think some of those events is more intentional free events at Cottonwood Lodge. We're capturing a lot of those with the trivia nights and the music nights. So I'm not sure on how attendance is at those events, but I also know that this April month also captures the Easter egg extravaganza event that was really well done by our staff and the adventure golf team and was well received by the public. So I would say there's an overall uptick in interest in the events that we're putting on, and we hope to continue with that.
Any other questions, comments about the KPI reports? Quarterly reports?
Yeah, again, appreciate the time and effort staff puts into the quarterly report. It's very informative. A couple things I noticed. It was nice to see that you have a cyber audit that's going to be taking place here shortly. So to make sure our IT environment's nice and strong. And also the write-up on the King Super Pepsi partnership was really nice. To get that kind of exposure is great.
Well, I was going to say thank you to the team in this room. So it's unusual for our leadership team to all be here, but these are the people behind the reports that you're all looking at. So we do ask you guys for the reports for a reason, so thank you all.
Yeah, I'll make the same note that Mike did with regard to the marketing and communications, the emails that have been sent out and what we're seeing there with the ability to measure the open rates and the data and the stats that you're providing are very helpful. So thank you for that. And then the recreation report, you can really see. So one, I loved all the pictures. The picture is worth more than 1,000 words. So that was very informative and appreciate all the work that goes into this. Thank you.
So I just want to jump in a little bit and say, Matt, sorry, I thought you'd been the star of the month for 2 months and it's just one. So if there's other people who have won for January, February, or March and they're here, I'll recognize them as well. I also want to say to Kelly, the Easter egg extravaganza was amazing. It was so much different but better than it has been in the past. It was well organized. There was lots of Friends of the Foundation people there. It was fun for the little kids. I had a little kid with me. She had a great time. It wasn't a mad scramble where people got pushed over. They all got the same amount of eggs. They had fun contests to participate in. So I would just say that was awesome. I hope you'll consider doing that again. And then the last thing is, you guys know I like my fun facts. There was only one, and it was from Mr. Hagar about Loveland Basin Snowtell site is the most relevant site for predicting runoff that will be available to Highland Hills for irrigation. I did not know that, so thank you. Now I can fill up my friends' heads with kind of novel facts. But I wasn't happy that it dropped from 102% to 96%. But yeah, it should have gone up a little bit. So thank you, and to all staff for putting that together. It was really nice. Allison with the legal report.
Good evening. There's a legal report in your board packet. Happy to answer any questions.
No questions.
Allison, there's no questions, so I don't know if that means that you're doing too nice of a job, or if we're just reading it so thoroughly that we have all the questions answered.
We'll go with both.
It was both.
Both.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No wrong answer.
All right, now we're kind of getting to the fun part of the agenda tonight and why all of our guests are here. Before we jump into the swearing in, I would like to take a moment of personal privilege as the outgoing president to share a couple thoughts. So, to my fellow board directors, as I leave my term of president, I'd like to share some thoughts and some thanks. First and foremost, working on a board is a collaborative effort between the district staff and the board of directors. I'd like to start with a thank you for each board member's commitment to the district and our constituents. This is never in doubt. Each of you demonstrate this commitment at each and every board and committee meeting and all of our events. We have a few specific accomplishments I'd like to highlight. We successfully opened the new sports center, including the new gymnastics facility. The board of directors agreed to incorporate effective board governance, including collective commitments, and this was based on highly effective boards and the Special District Association guidelines. This allows us to have effective or more effective meetings. In essence, we agree to work well together to accomplish district goals. We have supported many capital improvement plans and projects working on updating parks, facilities, conservation of water usage, community partnerships, and resource management. We have supported the use of grants for additional funding. We have successfully collaborated on creating the district mission, vision, and strategic plan, incorporating community input and implementing these documents for decision making. This is a big highlight. We successfully supported the passage of a ballot financing measure with no new taxes. This supports helping leverage the district's budget and financial impacts in a fiscally responsible manner. This allows us to protect district assets and fund projects on an as-needed basis. This is only a partial list. The board has come a long way and has lots to be proud of. I'm looking at all you guys. I believe that serving in the role of the president requires several skills. The president, first and foremost, must be prepared. The president must also model our collective commitments and follow them. This is not always easy. There are times the president must listen to the conversation, keep board members on track, and keep the meeting moving. This requires facilitation skills and keeping the needs of the district first. That's why we serve, to support the district. The board is certainly not the stars of the district, and the president is not the star of the board. I believe our job is to ensure the district is moving forward and then get out of the way. It's not about us, it's about the staff and our citizens. We should always keep this in mind. This is about we and not me. We should not try to take over meetings or try to show how much better we might understand an issue. Yes, we should bring our own expertise to the table, and we should allow others their chance. Once a fellow board member makes a statement, there is no need for another board member to make the same or similar statement. I'm sure that at times, fellow board members have felt that I have facilitated too strongly. That's part of the president's role. It can be difficult to be asked to follow our commitments, to be asked to stick to the topic, or stay focused, to be asked to provide input, or to not go on too much. It can be difficult to be asked to act as one board and not one board member. That's a fine line between effective facilitation and having the meeting spiral out of control. I'm sure I have stepped on some toes. It was not done intentionally, but with the goal of doing what's best for the district. It's part of the role. It is critical that we do not act as individual board members and to act as one board. That's our role, and it's the role of the president to keep the board working together. I hope the next board president will not try to be the show, to keep things moving, to interact with respect, to hold others accountable, and to always have the district's best interests in mind. The president can't be afraid of stepping on some toes or ideas that don't align with their perspective. They may have ideas for how they want the board to work and interact. They must be careful when they don't get their way. That could easily become a me perspective and not a we perspective if not viewed in seeking collaboration. The role of the president does not mean you get your way. It means the president has a special obligation to involve all board members as we work to support the district. I do hope that we engage in some study sessions to review our collective commitments and start to establish how we will work together as a new board. I've seen fractured boards, and it's ineffective. And I've seen effective boards. Working as a team and not as individuals is how we get to stay effective and improve. I have learned from each and every board member I have seen in action or interacted with, both on the current board and other boards, both fractured and effective. Thank you for the opportunity to learn from you. Enough of that. I'd like to first say thank you to Yvonne, Alan, Skylar, Bob, and Allison for their work in preparing items in a manner that makes the board work easier to understand and support. I'd like to thank Nicole for always being there to support the board in so many ways. Of course, there are so many other staff I should thank, but there are too many to name individually. Whatever you roll, you are appreciated and valued. I'd like to specifically thank Don Chancho II for his many years of service to Highland Hills and the board. He has invested his time and energy to support our mission and vision, especially for always supporting youth sports in Highland Hills, one of his passions. In particular, I'd like to thank him for his insight on capital improvement projects. Sir, I have learned much from you over the years. Thank you. Thanks to Danny for your openness to new learning and for the valuable insight you provide during board and committee meetings. I find your questions to be on point and you always consider new information. Keep speaking up.
Okay.
Thanks to Margaret for her financial perspective and thinking and about how we fund and manage our projects and budget. Your insight and expertise is very valuable to the board and very supportive of our work. Thank you for always keeping the work of the district first. Thanks to Mike for his financial acumen, solid thinking, and perspective. I very much value your thoughts and commitment to doing what's right and in doing the right thing. Doing the right thing is not always the easy thing. You always bring the perspective of interacting respectfully and in being nice in your interactions. I appreciate you reminding me it's not that hard to do the right thing and the nice thing. Thank you. I'd also like to welcome Lori to the board in just a minute. Your experience and insight will further support our work over the next 4 years. Welcome. I believe this board has the right people to keep our focus on what's best for the district. We may disagree at times, but if we stay on the why we became board members, to serve our community and listen to each other, that this board has a very bright future. I'm very proud to be a small part of it. Thank you for allowing me that time. So now I get to introduce the Honorable David Cook for the swearing in of elected board members.
Thank you, President Blair. Where would you like it? We could use this lectern or right here, whatever works. I am going to ask people to sign.
Yeah, we've usually used the lectern, I think, haven't we?
Just come right down.
Just right down front.
Okay, again, I'm going to ask each person to sign.
Would you like us to sign beforehand?
No, I think you sign after because you're attesting that something has happened. So I have these in an order that was given to me. It starts with Warren Blair.
That would be neat.
For the record, I'm David Cook. I'm Judge Pro Tem with the Westminster Municipal Court. Thank you for inviting me this evening. Mr. Blair, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to have you raise your right hand and repeat after me, except I'm going to say state your name at that time. State your name after that. Follow right along. Good.
My real name?
Whatever you want to use for the record. Okay.
I,
State your name.
Warren Blair,
Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution of the State of Colorado.
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
And the laws of the State of Colorado.
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
And will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the Office of Director
of the Office of Director
of the Hyland Hills Park and Recreation District,
of the Hyland Hills Park and Recreation District,
upon which I'm about to enter
upon which I'm about to enter
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you to sign first. And then- Thank you very much,
Great,
Margaret.
thank you.
Margaret, you're next. Please. Okay, Margaret, maybe you heard me, but repeat after me, except I'll say state your name, and we'll state your name. Ready?
Ready.
I
I,
state your name.
Margaret Gutierrez,
Do swear
do swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the Office of Director
of the Office of Director
of the Hyland Hills Park and Recreation District,
of the Highland Hills Parks and Recreation District,
upon which I'm about to enter
upon which I'm about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you to sign this, please. See, I thought this might be a little high, but I guess you're just, are you on your tiptoes?
I'm standing on my toes just a tad.
You're all set. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
It was just fine for me.
Lori, you're gonna have to stand on your
Yeah,
toes.
Lori, you are absolutely gonna have to stand
Must
on
be
your
this
toes.
high to take it off. Okay, how are you next? Okay, so you repeat after me, except I'm gonna say state your name. At that point, state your name. Good? Okay, raise your right hand. I.
Lori Morales. I, Lori
I didn't
Morales.
say state your name. I state your name.
Lori Morales.
Fantastic. Do swear
Do swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado.
and will faithfully perform the duties
I will faithfully perform the duties
of the Office of Director
of
Highland Hills Park and Recreation District,
of the Highland Hills Park and Recreation District,
upon which I'm about to enter,
upon which I'm about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Now, that's the sign.
David, thank you very much for your time.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you, appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me over. Thanks for the water.
You got it.
Thank you.
Skylar, is Dawn still online? So Dawn, this ends your official part. You can stay on if you'd like, or you don't need to. It's up to you. So Lori, welcome.
Thank you.
I believe this is my last, before we switch seats, I believe this is my last act as the president. Sounds so final.
You're just moving one seat over.
Well, I don't know. I might be moving all the way over to the back of the room there. All right, so we're at the Board of Directors election of officers, and I have talked to Danny if she would present that.
Yes. I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the following election of officers to serve a two-year term effective May 29, 2025. President Margaret Gutierrez, Vice President Lori Morales, Treasurer Mike Hald, Secretary Danny Grosh, and Assistant Secretary Treasurer Warren Blair.
Do we need a motion or a second on that?
That was the motion.
All right, we need a second.
Anyone?
Second.
There you go.
Thank you. Your official act on this board.
Yep.
Good job. So I would like to see if there's any comments or questions. It's pretty straightforward. I would ask the board that if we could please do this vote by roll call rather than by raising of hands. How does the board feel about that?
Whoop.
You guys okay with that?
I'm good with that.
So Nicole, will you please roll call on this vote?
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mrs. Grosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Hald? Mrs. Morales?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, this is the best part of the meeting for me. I get to hand this over to Margaret. She gets to run the rest of the meeting, and I get to move over somewhere else.
We have to do as good as Dawn as you have.
We will trade that later.
They want me to relying on their experience to go forward with this, okay. The next item on our agenda is the resolution for repealing and readopting the employee handbook. I'm looking for a motion.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the resolution repealing and readopting the employee handbook as written.
I second.
Any discussion?
Comments from staff?
Yeah, so I'll just say it's been over 2 years, 2.5 years or so since this was last adopted. So we felt the timing was right to revisit some of the things in the employee handbook and update it per Colorado law that has been recently passed, and just some cosmetic things just to update as needed. So I tried to send to you what all the changes were, but it was quite a bit, just some housekeeping items. And there was one change that I sent to you earlier today to highlight. But this was in collaboration with Allison, our legal counsel, so we're happy to take any questions.
Skylar, I like that change on the cell phone policy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that it for comments? And with that, let's take a vote now. Everyone in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Everyone said aye.
Yeah.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you. It's just sometimes you can't hear it. You can't hear the ayes. Thank you.
I'm looking for an amendment, or I'm looking for a motion for the approval of the second amendment to the interim City of Westminster intergovernmental agreement.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the Second Amendment to the Highland Hills Park and Recreation District and City of Westminster interim intergovernmental agreement as written.
A second?
Is there any questions, comments, or discussion?
Again, it's 1 year extension. Any idea, once this 1 year's up, how long the next agreement will be for? Or what are the key roadblocks or things that need to be resolved?
Yeah, there's been some challenges along the way in terms of different concepts, different staffs, different philosophies, but I think we're in a really good spot where both sides seem to be fundamentally in agreement with where we're headed. We have to work out some of the details, and we will bring those back to the board as they will bring it back to their council as well. So I fully expect that a new agreement will be done well within the 1 year timeline, but we just wanted to give ourselves that extra pad. So I'm hoping that we have this done by the end of the year.
Yvonne, should I interpret that this will give us time to have in place a permanent intergovernmental agreement with the City of Westminster? Is that what we?
Yeah, we're working towards a permanent IGA. And if you remember, it's a consolidated. So we had several IGAs with the city, so we're trying to consolidate all of them into one comprehensive agreement that will be permanent until it's, if there's a need to change it in the future.
Any more discussion?
No.
No.
Everyone in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Excuse me.
I'm looking for a motion for a Board of Directors study session.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District schedule a study session for Tuesday, June 10th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m.
Second?
Any discussion with regard to the study session? I just want to clarify, so the study session would be limited to the plans that are in place for the improvements to Waterworks, is that correct?
That's correct.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Everyone in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Moving to the next motion.
I move that the Board of Directors of Highland Hills Park and Recreation District approve the purchase and the initial payment for 4 refurbished CWA gondola cabins from the Gondola Shop in the amount of $110,000 in 2025 and the balance in 2026, along with the surrender of 4 out-of-service cabins.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions about the motion?
Yes. In the write-up from staff, it talks about there's a deposit. You're making a prepayment of $110,000 in 2025. You're not receiving any goods or services in 2025. You're just making a deposit. So that would go on the balance sheet as a deposit, not an expense in 2025. You would expense the deposit in 2026 when you receive them back.
That is correct. It'll go on as basically what we do with those is put them into kind of construction in progress. So that's exactly what will happen with it, Mike.
Okay, because you were concerned about, it's an unbudgeted amount, but given the timing, it really is within budget for 2020.
For 2020, correct.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out.
I have a question. Are the gondolas functioning this year or are they not functioning this year?
They are, and maybe I'll have Bob give you a little bit of a recap of where we're at with that, Margaret.
Yeah, so yes, the gondola will be operating. We just wrapped up some extensive testing this week. JR has been working incredibly hard on that project. We have a new control system that's in place. We have our first 4 of the refurbished cabins hanging on the rope. The gondola is going back and forth, so we have a little bit of wrap-up work to complete, and we expect the gondola to be opening in the next week and a half to the public. So we're a little bit delayed, but we're going to have a great product come online when we're ready.
Thank you.
Bob, did we have a naming contest on those gondolas?
You know what? We have not had a naming contest yet, but I'm going to note that right here, Lauren.
Okay, I'll get my entry in right away.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Everyone in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the next order of business is the Board of Directors Committee updates. We have 4 committees. We have a Bylaws Committee, a Capital Projects Committee, a Finance Committee, and a Lease Committee. With that, who would be able to provide a Bylaws Committee update?
I think it happened right now, today. It was we updated it, we voted for it.
No, not for the bylaws, Warren. We did the update for the employee handbook. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. We haven't met since the
Sorry
last
about
meeting,
that.
Margaret. The bylaws committee has not met since the last meeting.
Okay, so no update. What's the update on the Capital Projects Committee? And Warren and Mike are on the committee.
Yeah, so since the last regular board meeting in early April, we've had 2 capital committee meetings. One on April 15th and one on May 19th. I'll repeat that. Since the last regularly scheduled Board of Directors meeting in early April, we've had 2 capital committee meetings, one on April 15th and one on May 19th. There's approximately 11 projects we discussed during these meetings. There's no issues or concerns about any of these projects. They're moving along as expected. Again, some a little bit faster or slower than others. But one thing is we talked about is right now there was the Spring Adams County grants that were submitted. And, you know, as of May 19th, we should find out next week. So did we find out anything yet? We got thumbs up on the mini grant for the fitness center pickleball courts, the learn to swim pool, and the Kamenish Park Master Plan. Nice work.
Got all three.
And then, of course, there's the fall cycle of grants, and so those are due at the end of August.
What was the total amount of the Adams County grants then for all three projects?
I don't know the exact number. I want to say 1.6 million, 1.7 million, something like that. And most of that is in the two projects, the Learn to Swim and the Camnish Park.
Nice work.
Sorry, did you ask the total we were awarded or the total cost of the total projects?
The total amount of the grants awarded.
That was about 1.7 million, and we do a 30% match. So the total projects were somewhere around 3 million, or a little less, I guess.
Excellent. And then I'm looking for an update from the Finance Committee, and I sit on the Finance Committee with Mike Halden. We haven't met since the last board meeting.
Correct, but we have a meeting scheduled for next week
Yes.
to check the status of the annual 2024 audit and annual report.
Thank you, Mike. And is there an update from the Lease Committee?
There are no updates at this time.
Excellent. Are there any questions or comments that on the committee updates from the board?
I have a question. So since we have a new member and one of our old members is gone, is the committee's going to stay the same?
I was thinking about that. What I was thinking, and I'd like your input, is with the formation of the new board and the committees that we have in place, I think it may be a study session to go over the committees and committee assignments would be a good idea. I don't want to convolute the other study session, and I think that the committee study session we might be able to have that over Zoom, and it would be relatively quickly, but I don't know what you guys think about putting a study session together to go over committee assignments, setting a schedule for committees, responsibilities, membership.
Can we just have it ad hoc discussion after the regular board meeting here?
I had mentioned, I had mentioned, talking about committee assignments as well, under, open board discussion, and with the Highland Hills Foundation update, I can do that in a second. I would like to also recommend, as I did in my, point of, privilege, my point of personal privilege, is that I would like to also have a study session on how do we work together, and how do we do our norms, our collective commitments, how do we figure that out? I think that would be a perfect time to then review committee assignments. We could do that at the same time. That would be my suggestion.
So I think then having a separate study session to review board norms and committee assignments, we would do that separately. Or we would have a study session. How do we want to go about scheduling that then?
Madam President, I think I can just circulate an email with some suggested dates to all of you, what works best for all your schedules, and I'll work towards a date and time that then we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting for you guys to set that meeting.
Okay, does that sound agreeable to the rest of the board?
Sure.
Okay. That would be good. We have that. Any other comments or questions about committees?
No.
Hearing none, moving forward. It's Board of Directors, open discussion, an update on the Highland Hills Foundation.
I'll take that one real quick. The foundation is going to meet on June 13th with our every other month scheduled meeting, but also want to encourage everybody, the golf tournament's coming up, so get your teams in, get your silent auction items in if you can. That tournament is on July 18th, so that's coming up. We've got a couple more golf meetings. That's kind of our big focus right now for the foundation. So if, however you can help support that golf tournament is awesome, and then we'll come back with, in the July meeting, we will have an information about what we discussed in June.
Any other comments or updates on the foundation? Hearing none, moving to the next item on the agenda is the board meeting action recap. And I have that, that was one of my assigned duties as vice president. And so I don't know how we want to move forward of the board meeting action recap, but I have two items from this meeting thus far is the naming contest for the gondola, having that, and then setting a date for a study session for committee assignments and board norms. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think that's it.
And I'll ask, who would like to assume the responsibility of board recap?
I could do that. I could do that. I could do that.
I'll help, I'll assist.
Just nudge me.
That would be good.
Write that down.
We can all help with that, but if you would take the lead, that would be awesome.
Sure.
Thank you for volunteering, I appreciate that.
Of course.
With that, we've reached the end of our agenda, and so I would adjourn the board.
Madam President, can I just make a quick comment?
You bet.
So first of all, congratulations to Warren and Margaret and Lori. I'm very happy for all of you for joining and rejoining the board, so thank you for that. And thanks, Warren, for leading this ship for the last 2 years. You've done a great job, and we really appreciate your efforts and the leadership that you've brought to the group. And then just quickly, on behalf of our whole leadership team, who is all here tonight, thank you guys for coming. I'm really excited that we are going to get to work with a group of 5 people with the highest moral standards who are here giving their time and their talents strictly for the benefit of this district and the community. So thank you to all of you. We are super excited about where we're headed with the district. So thank you and welcome back, Lori. And thank you guys for staying on. Appreciate it.
Now the meeting is adjourned.
Yay.
All right, thanks.